Did you know that according to statistics, 12% of the population in America will go off grid? I found that fact very interesting. So for this project, we decided to make our off-the-grid house in Lake George, Florida. Some pros to this is that there are plenty of food in Florida, meaning one of the main sources we are going to be used for food is fishing, because in Florida the temperatures all year round are very warm. There is lots of rain, which can benefit our crops. There is no snow, which is easy to plant crops because it prevents the crops from dying early, or it just helps us grow crops easier all year round. There are high temperatures all year round, which is easy because the crops can grow in a very suitable environment, and there is nearby communities if we need any resources. Some cons is that we do have bedrock underground, which sometimes can make it hard to grow plants. There's unfertile Mayaca soil, which is basically a soil that is also kind of hard to grow plants in. There can be dangerous animals located in Florida which could eat our plants, and one of the biggest things we had to realize while making our house in Florida was the fact of hurricanes. Hurricanes can easily wipe out a whole community, which is a big downfall. So some of the temperatures we might be thinking is that, well, in Florida, the annual temperature in Lake Georgia, Florida, ranges from 61 to 91 degrees Fahrenheit, and this means that we will not need to worry about the hurricanes. No, not the hurricanes, the fluctuations in temperature, which can cause damage to structures between freeze and they can thaw cycles. So the benefit of the high temperatures is that our house will not freeze and we will not thaw during our cycles throughout the season. And this is a map, and as you can see, there are many storms in Florida. And another major issue with the tropical locations in hurricanes is that this map shows Florida over the past 20 years, and we can see that many large storms have passed near the center of Florida, which is where our house will be located. But however, many hurricanes are also deflected away due to the high pressure areas over Florida and the Gulf Stream, so we are in danger for hurricanes, but it's not as bad as it could be considering other parts of the state. So we will be using solar energy for our house. This is because Florida is very close to the equator, which means the sun will be
We get a lot of sunlight most of the day. And because we get a lot of sunlight most of the day, we can then transfer that sunlight into electrical energy, which can then be used to power our house. And this is done through solar panels.
Every appliance in our house. So our usage, the items we will use in a few hours or a few minutes, depending on which appliance it is. Now, how many hours or minutes a day that an appliance is being used, including energy usage and hours, we need to make sure that we account for the day and night cycle. The average usage for that product uses over the course of a year, so we're accounting for the seasons. And for the cost per year, we use 13 cents per kWh to get an overall cost for usage.
So our total energy use came up to 14,796 kilowatts per year, and the cost of that is 1,923.48 cents per year.
We mentioned that we're going to be using solar panels, and the solar panels we decided on were 300-watt monocrystal silicon solar panels. Now, Tampa receives 14 to 16 hours of sunlight a day. This varies depending on the height and the angle of the sun, but we can just give it the maximum amount of sunlight theoretically possible. Now, 300 watts times 14 hours a day equals 4,800 watts a day. Now, 4,800 times 365 days equals 1.752 million watts a year per panel. Now, our usage is about 14,796,000 watts a year. With 9 solar panels, we can produce the needed 15,768,000 watts a year, or roughly 15,768 kilowatts. Now, you might be wondering if we can fit 9 solar panels onto our roof, and we can fit 9 solar panels. The actual area is about 57 by 29 feet, or about 1,653 square feet. Now, our roof will be actually 6,000 square feet. This was just our original estimate, but our floor space ended up being much bigger. So even if it was only 3,600 square feet, we could still fit it on very comfortably. And this leaves enough roof space for us to comfortably mount this onto our roof. Now, for our building materials, our house will be made up of concrete, reinforced concrete. Now, the reason we're using reinforced concrete is because we're going to be going into 150-mile-per-hour winds. So we want to make sure that our house can survive flying debris, high winds, possible floods, and this is what you'll find in most houses in Florida. We also, to protect our windows, will be using impact doors and shutters. Now, PGT, custom doors and shutters, which we found was popular in that area building, can stand up to 55 pounds per square inch to negative 65 pounds per square inch, which is a lot of pressure. These doors are also designed to protect against flying debris such as tree branches, entire trees, other things that could possibly be being thrown your way during a storm. Now, these storm shutters can also block UV rays, which is fantastic for just over a course of 25 years, protecting your flooring, protecting your paint, everything inside the house can just be nicer, and you're protecting your health from the UV rays. Now, we also are going to be using strong clay roof tiles, and this is because these roof tiles can last up to 25 years. Unlike traditional roof tiles you'll find down here, in Florida you get more storms, so you need heavier and more durable roof tiles. So they use clay roof tiles. They're impact resistant, and they reflect heat away from the house in order to keep the house cool during the summer months. And this is unlike the black roof tiles we have here, which do absolutely nothing and are just paper thin pieces of sticky tar-like substances. So for our wastewater management, we'll be using a 1,250-gallon septic tank that will be emptied as needed by a labor crew. This is one of the only parts of our house that will be needed outside the systems to empty or to keep our house maintained. So a septic system is actually fairly simple. So first, wastewater flows from the house into the septic tank, and this is the first septic tank thing you see right here. Now the manhole cover will be used to take out any of the sludge. So the way it works is that the solids enter, they fall to the bottom, and then they decompose from bacteria. This is the sludge, right? And then as it decomposes from as that decomposes, produces gas, which can then go out through all the pipes. It comes out through ventilation holes. Now, whatever is left over then is first, if it floats to the top and it can't get to the next chamber, it is taken out separately. Now, if it's actually water, so the water gets squeezed out as it's decomposing, it goes into the next chamber where the whole entire process happens again. Solid goes to the bottom, they stay there to decompose. The scum that floats to the top from the decomposition is then, just almost like sea foam, is just taken out through a manhole cover or an inspection pipe. And the water is then taken to a output baffle, which goes to a drainage field, which is this. So then that water is leached back into the soil, like a gravity-like substance, so it can be filtered back into the water cycle. Now, we would have used a farm over top of that septic system leaching field, but we found that the roots probably would clog the pipes, so we wouldn't want to do that.
For our food management, we decided to do a greenhouse to grow all the vegetables and starches for our small family in our house. And our diet, in order to understand the greenhouse space we need to calculate the daily food needs. So a single adult male needs 56 grams of protein, 225 grams of carbohydrates, 44 grams of fat, and 2,100 calories total. Extra protein is stored as fat, and the calculations shown in the table are for the maximum food intake, and it would go down depending if there are kids or not. So this table shows how our food in the greenhouse would support a small family. How are we going to grow this food? We're going to use 18,000 RSI educational greenhouse with 288 square feet planting space each. Half of our diet is fish, so we only need 588 square feet of greenhouse needed. And we'll also have 11 times of native orange trees with 600 oranges each for our fruits to support the family. Our fish, we're going to need 10 fish maximum per day. So we decided to pick a 2007 Venture 27 open fishing boat, which is 27 feet long at about $99,000 to catch all the fish we need for the day to support ourselves and to help our diet.
Now that we understand how we're going to get our water and well, no, now we understand how we're going to get our food and fish. Now we need to understand how we're going to get our water into our house because we need fresh water. So for this, we're going to have to pump water from Lake George into our piping system in our house. What we're going to use that is we're going to use two Masterflex open impeller centrifugal pumps that can each do 230 gallons per minute. Now these work off of 460 volts, which they can have their own solar panel for. This will be about $1,200 for two of them. And the reason we have two of them is because if one fails, you still have a backup one. So in the case of a storm, we'll always be prepared. Now, Lake George is naturally fresh water, so using these two pumps, we can sustain a pressure of 50 psi in our water pipes allows us to have sufficient water pressure. Then we will pump any excess water back into the lake, and of course, whatever we actually use will go straight into our septic system, which will then go straight back into the lake anyways once it's naturally filtered, which this does not have a environmental impacts, and the lake itself is probably millions and millions of gallons constantly being refreshed by rain, so it's not like we'll have to worry about taking too much water out of the lake that it provides environmental damage. So in order to manage our household, we need to have a schedule. Now at 7 a.m., everyone wakes up and gets ready. At 7:30, everyone eats breakfast and eats exactly 2 oranges, a half a 14.4 ounce bass, and 1 cup of boiled pinto beans. At 8 a.m., two people in Group A will take the boat out for fishing, and each person should catch 5 fish. Now, the reason we say 5 fish is because we need 10 fish in total for the entire household. But remember, this is if we have 5 grown male adults, which we most likely won't. So we could have upwards of only 7 to 6 fish for the 2 of them being caught that day. At the same time, Group B, 3 people will go out and work on the greenhouse, harvesting and maintaining the crops. Now at 12 p.m., everyone comes back inside for lunch. Everyone will have 2 oranges, 1 cup of boiled pinto beans, a half a 14.4 ounce bass, and 2 tomatoes. This will provide the sufficient protein and carbohydrates and fats needed. Because remember, any extra proteins, which we do have extra proteins in our diet, will be converted to that fat that we lacked from the pinto beans. Now, at 1 p.m., everyone goes out and picks oranges and maintains the tree's health. Now, oranges are a huge part of the Florida culture, and having orange trees is nothing new. So we can have upwards of those 11 orange trees and 600 oranges each, and each person can pick 4 oranges, and that can be their entire orange and take the entire day, and that won't take any more than an hour. So at 2 p.m., everyone comes in, have completed their tasks for the day, and can work on school, homework, whatever they need to do. Now at 7 p.m. for dinner, every person will have 1 14.4-ounce bass, 1 boiled cup of pinto beans, and 1 mashed potatoes using 2 white potatoes. And there's a 5-hour period in between here. They can do anything. They can manipulate the schedule based on their needs. This is just a general outline. They can change this as they need. So at 10 p.m., everyone goes to sleep and the cycle continues. So in order to understand if our house actually works or not, we need to 3D model it. So this is the first floor 3D model. This is the orthographic view, which is a top-down view. Now, the first floor is 23.24 by 24.83 meters, or about 577 square meters. Now, the garage, which is up here with the car in it, obviously, is 196 square meters. And adding these together, we get a total floor space of the first floor of 773 square meters. Now, this is the isometric view. This is a 3-dimensional view, 30 degrees. Not exactly 30 degrees in our case, but as close as you can get it. As you can see, there's people walking around. The staircase is right here. You have the gym, you have the workout room, which goes straight to the garage. You have 2 full bathrooms. You have the living room and office area. You have the kitchen area. We couldn't model everything due to the lack of 3D models in the actual program. There is an area over here that can be used for anything. This can be extra living room, extra office space, whatever they need. So this is the second floor, which goes right above the first floor. And this area is only 577 square meters, which using this, well, that's from the first floor calculations, and combining this together, we get a total floor space of 1,350 square meters, or 4,050 square feet for the entire house. And that will look something like that. Now, some of the houses didn't appear in, that's due to the software having an issue. You can see the staircase is right here. And if you go back, these are actually closets right here. So you see the closets that are right there. You also see you have the closets. There's nothing right here. That's a staircase. You have the bathrooms up here, and each room has a half bath. Two of them have a half bathroom, and then the other two have full bathrooms, and then two of them do not have bathrooms. Now, every single room has storage, and if you go to the two bottom rooms down here, you have the just extra storage for anything they need. We couldn't really model an attic with this program because the 3D modeling doesn't allow for the 3D modeling program doesn't allow for a roof without payment, and we can't really pay for it. So we'll just have to deal with it. Now the roof itself, but we do know what it will look like based on other Florida roofs, which it'll look something like the picture you see right here, and it'll be 6,075 square feet because in order to get the roof area, you multiply the square footage of the house by 1.5, and this is well enough to fit all our solar panels and can sustain storms. So, in order to understand what it's gonna be like to build this house, because it won't be free, we'll need to calculate a table of the highest expenses. So you see we have a kitchen cost, that's $35,000. Now a 2-car garage, an expensive one, is $70 a square foot, $41,000. 6 bathrooms, that depends. It could be considered 4 bathrooms up to 6 bathrooms, depends on how big the bathrooms are, but our bathrooms are fairly high quality and big, so we said $39,000. We have 6 bedrooms, full bedrooms, and kings. That's $60,000. The shell of the home is $100 per square foot. That's $405,000 based on estimates of other houses around it. The boat itself, $99,000. The greenhouses, $18,000 each for $32,000 total dollars. 300-watt solar panels, surprisingly cheap at only $3,000. And the 1,250-gallon septic tank was $5,040, coming at a total of $719,040. Now, this does not calculate the cost of maintaining it, the cost of maintenance, the cost of food, and the cost of labor, or the cost of fuel. So those are extra costs that come on top of this, but if you can afford the initial $720,000 investment, you can probably afford the rest of the stuff that comes with it. This has concluded our presentation. Any questions can be left in the reviews, the comment board below. We also will be attaching a document of all of our work so if you want to look more in depth, just in case the video's quality isn't as good, you can see our tables better since we are doing this over Zoom and OBS. So thank you for watching.